Welcome back to another episode of Talking Ball. It's Jack. Got a special guest here, my friend Josh,
How's
and
it going?
we're going to be breaking down some of these NBA playoff previews here now that we know what the matchups are going to be. So, without further ado, Josh, let's jump right into the Western Conference. The one seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder, will be taking on the worst winner, I guess, of the play-in, which will be either Golden State, Memphis, Sacramento, or Dallas. Any thoughts on that potential matchup? Who do you think it would be between those four teams?
So, honestly, I don't think it matters who, but I think it's very interesting how the Mavs chose to lose this game and not contend for the 9 seed. Almost telling me as if they don't really care either. So, I think the Kings will beat the Mavs, and that leaves them playing the loser of the 7-8. I think the Warriors are going to win, so likely it's going to be Thunder versus Grizzlies, which would be a pretty interesting matchup, but you have to say the Thunder at the end of the day.
I'm with you. I think that's the way we line up here. And the only question for me would be, do the Grizzlies win a game, or is it a gentleman's sweep, or is it a sweep for the Thunder? Because I mean, I guess the one thing going in Memphis' favor is that they did fire their coach. Because before that happened, I would have definitely said this would be a sweep. But I think that gives them a little bit of life going into that matchup. But not, I don't see it being a competitive series at all.
Yeah, post coach firing actually does good things for your team. Denver's looking a little bit better too.
They are too. We're gonna get to them in a couple minutes here, but they do look better. All right, so that leaves the 2-7 matchup, which both of us think will be Golden State. The only thing that gives me a little bit of concern for Golden State in their matchup with Memphis is they are an older team. It's gonna be a quick turnaround, just one day in between. And Steph, I mean, he looked pretty damn good in the fourth quarter of this game against the Clippers, but he is dealing with that thumb injury, and Jimmy Butler had Kawhi's knee go into his thigh, so I imagine that's not going to feel good in 2 days, but it's Jimmy Butler. I'm not really worried about it. I think they'll get the job done. So, Houston Golden State, I think, is a fascinating first round matchup where you have Houston's one of the top, I think, three defenses in the NBA, right up there with the Thunder. I think the Magic are still up there, the top three. And then Golden State, their defense has been much better as of late, especially since they got Jimmy. They've got a league average offense, not quite as good as you would suspect with a team with Curry, but I just worry about Houston offensively against Golden State in the series. I think they're going to have to get a lot from Sengun in his matchup against Draymond.
Yeah, I agree, but I would say that's also a good thing because Golden State doesn't like to play teams with big centers. And I do feel like when they played their most recent game and the Rockets did a really good job defending Steph, I think Golden State's biggest problem is their lack of shooting other than Steph. I know earlier in this game today, I didn't check how many he ended up with, but Draymond Green was like 4 for 6 from three. And like Buddy Hield had 2 threes at one point, and that's it, besides Steph. I mean, that's been their problem since getting Jimmy Butler. And against a good defensive team like the Rockets, might not be enough.
I agree. I mean, I think Pods hit a couple of threes as well today. But yeah, it's the shooting outside of Steph and the lack of rim protection that I mean, they're relying on Jimmy and Draymond really to be their de facto centers. And while Draymond, he's proven he can do it at a pretty high level, I just worry about the rebounding, the just collective rebounding that Houston's athletes between like Tara Eason and then Thompson, um, they just have
Jabari Smith.
Steve, yeah, Steven Adams. They've just got a lot of guys who can crash the boards. So
Mhm.
I just that is one area where I would worry for Golden State, but they'll have the best player, and it's not going to be
Yeah.
close. And they may even have the second best player in the series. So I think that makes it very interesting. If
Playoff Jimmy,
you,
take his points.
yeah, playoff
He
Jimmy,
went off
exactly.
today.
I mean, he was awesome. He was there. He was cooking Bogdanovich every time that they would get that matchup. So the only thing is against Houston, there's just not many guys you can pick on. Maybe
Yeah,
Jalen Green, but outside of
especially
that,
with no shooting. It'd be
yeah,
hard to drive on those guys. They got so
yep.
much length.
So I think as of right now, I would pick Houston, but I think it would go seven. I think it's going to be a long series.
Well, you know how I feel about Golden State, and I'm a little biased, but I would also take Houston. I was really impressed by their most recent game and Amen Thompson's defense holding Curry to, I think it was like, I forget, it was like three. It was under 10 points, I
He
think.
was like 1 for 10, I think, from the field.
Yeah. And you're just relying on not a lot besides Jimmy Butler. So I do like the Rockets as well. I was going to say six, but I think seven is very reasonable. We're not too far off.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always got a hard time with saying six for
Yeah.
like the home team to win in six. I just feel like it's harder to win that sixth game on the road. But we're gonna get to that later. There's one series where I have tough time on that. All right,
Okay.
Lakers Timberwolves. Josh, this is a good matchup. You know,
hmm
you got Luca versus Ant. Now, I'm still having a hard time. I don't know about you, but having a hard time with Luca being on the Lakers. I know it's been a few months now, but it still doesn't make sense every time I see him there. And obviously, he is he's destroyed the Timberwolves, especially when he was on the Mavs. Um, it's been a matchup where he's done really well, but there's just a lot. They were 2-2 against each other in the regular season, but there's not much you can really take from that. Luca was only there for one of the games, and in that game, Randall wasn't available for the Timberwolves, which I think Julius Randall is a big X factor in this series. He's not played well in the playoffs for the Knicks. He that's being very kind. He did have injuries, so you can give him a little bit of a caveat, but I think for Minnesota to have a real chance, I know Ant's going to play well. I know they're going to get production from Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo, but the real question for me is what do they get from Randall in this series?
Yeah, that's a great point. And that game they played with Luca, they didn't have Gobert either. So that's the number one thing that people say about the Lakers lacking a center. So you're now going from no Gobert, no Randall to two bigs. So it'll be really interesting to see what JJ decides to draw up in terms of their interior defense. Um, I mean, I'm a little surprised that the Lakers are favored by minus 190. That seems like a lot. And I know, as you mentioned, Luca does really well against Timberwolves, but who's guarding Ant?
That's yes, that's I'm wondering that too. I'm wondering like it hasn't come up this year, but in the past, especially what was it like? It was like the FIBA World Cup, I guess 2 summers ago, when Austin Reeves they were just picking on him,
Mhm.
and they didn't it hasn't come up recently, but I wonder if that's something that's going to happen. And the other thing with the Lakers, just generally, is they're 50-32, but their point differential is only plus 1.2. And that is a really concerning number heading into the playoffs. They won a lot of close games. The Timberwolves is much better, +5. Um, I'm with you. I'm surprised it's. I understand, I guess, why it is because it's LeBron, it's the Lakers, it's Luca. So you get, there's a little bit of a tax you've got to pay to play the Lakers, but I am surprised that it is minus 190. I would think it would be more like 150, minus 150, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, I could see this being almost close to even, but I think it's really interesting that Yeah, I don't know. You just let Rudy Gobert score all the points. I guess that's not a winning formula either. So be interesting to see what the Timberwolves decide to do.
Yeah, I don't think Rudy's the big that's going to expose the Lakers because I mean, outside of what was it, Game 7 last year against the Nuggets when he was hitting that turnaround fadeaway
Oh yeah,
jumper.
the
Yeah,
whole
like he
arsenal.
yeah, the whole Rudy arsenal. Like he's just not going to beat you offensively. So I think their bigs can do a good enough job. Jackson Hayes, and then they've got Vanderbilt or Dorian Finney-Smith at the de facto five, or I guess LeBron. But I don't know. I think it comes down to like, can the Timberwolves get enough offense outside of Ant, and can the Lakers hold up defensively? Because
Yeah.
there's a
Mhm.
lot of guys that Ant can attack here.
I think to your point, that question is more who's going to be making their threes because the Lakers like to just leave open threes on guys who can't shoot. So I guess that would be obviously Gobert's not taking any, and that'll probably be like a pick and roll every start of the possession with Edwards and Gobert up top. So you probably need like two, three guys up there, and then you're leaving Conley, Dante, and I don't know what they're starting with. Dante, they have oh, who's their wing?
Jaden McDaniels, he's not.
Jaden
His
McDaniels.
confidence has kind of like hasn't
It's
been as
streaky.
strong. Yeah, he's streaky,
He's good against
but
Denver. He loves playing Denver. But yeah, him
yeah,
from three. Mike Conley's getting old, and then Randall's not a good 3-point shooter. So maybe it just works. You let them shoot threes and just double Ant.
I mean, to that point today against the Jazz, Ant was 7 of 18 from three, and the rest of the team was 6 of 25 combined. And
Yeah.
most of those six were from Dante. So it's like you gotta guard Dante, you gotta guard Ant, and then everyone else. To your point, like with the Lakers' defensive strategy, you just kind of make them shoot it,
Yeah.
and you probably live with the results. So I think the Lakers are gonna win this series. I think it will be close. I think the West is gonna be a war. I think this is also. I could be very wrong because I could see the Lakers having a good. They've been much better defensively than I would have thought they've been able to be with their roster. I'm gonna say Lakers in seven, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Lakers in five.
Yeah, I was gonna say Lakers in six. I think Lakers in five, as you said, is very reasonable, just because I think the Lakers can adjust a lot with like Rui starting or Dorian Finney-Smith. But when you're the Wolves, you don't have a lot. I mean, we may see more Naz Reid as another floor spacer, but then you just have three guys who, Luka and LeBron are just gonna pick on all day. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna trust that more. So
I agree. I agree. Gotta trust the offensive minds of the Lakers in this one versus the just. I don't know. I don't know what word you'd use for Anthony Edwards, but just talent. I don't know. He's just a
yeah,
scoring machine. Uh,
the flamethrower.
yeah, that's a good one. All right, last one, Josh. Last one here. Denver versus the Clippers. I was gonna say Los Angeles, but then I realized that wouldn't really work.
Yeah.
Both teams, I guess, coming in hot, sorta. Denver, they've won their 3 games, since Alvin's become the coach. The Clippers have won 8 in a row. Similar to Lakers, Timberwolves, they split the season series, but also similar. You can't take anything from those games. Kawhi didn't play in any of them. Jokic missed at least one of them, so just throw that out the window. Um, I think this is a true offense defense matchup.
Hmm.
One of the best offenses versus one of the best defenses. But I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine that Denver, yes, they've won their last 3 games, but with all the chaos, how their season has gone, they'll have the best player, but it won't be by a lot as long as Kawhi stays healthy, which is a major question mark because it's hard for me to bet that he's going to last this playoffs, let alone the entire series, but he has been healthy for the last couple of months. So got to give him a lot of credit. He looks like, the Raptors, Kawhi. So good to see. Huge Kawhi fan.
Oh yeah, big Kawhi fans here.
Big Kawhi fans. What do you think,
Yeah,
Josh?
I mean, I think it's interesting because you they say like the formula to guard Jokic is two big guys like the Wolves. I mean, you have Zubac, but I don't think that's enough, honestly. And then there's defensive liabilities with Harden and I guess Norman Powell, though I guess he's been okay. So I think it'll be a really interesting series. But if I were to lean one way, I think I like the Clippers a little bit more, how they've been doing the second half of the season and most recently. And big Kawhi fans. I mean, simple as that. We also love Jokic. I think this could be like a 7 game series. Um, yeah,
I think
probably taking the
also,
Clippers.
I I think also, do we get playoff Jamal Murray?
Hmm. Yeah, there's been some questions about his injuries,
Yep.
and he's been playing not a lot of games recently, so it's a great point. I'm not sure.
And I don't know. And then to your point, also like defensively, I do think Chris Dunn helps James Harden a lot defensively because he doesn't have to guard on the perimeter. He's much better when he can guard like a bigger forward or even like not
Yeah,
in this matchup, not the center. Um, so I think if he's guarding like Michael Porter Jr., it could be okay. But if he's in the action with Murray, yeah, it's not going to be great. But I wonder if the Clippers. This is the weird part for me. The Clippers offensively was something I was worried about. Like, I just don't know outside of Kawhi. I think Harden's going to have good games, but I think he's also going to have bad games. You've got Powell,
yeah,
and then you've got Zubac. But outside of that, like Bogdanovich,
he's
I,
been okay.
yeah, he's been okay. He hasn't been quite the same player as he used to be. And so I wonder about that. But I also think like Denver's defense is bad enough where it will create enough opportunities for the other guys on the Clippers to score. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think you can say the same thing about Denver, right? Like after their starting five, who are you relying on? Russell Westbrook?
yeah, that's a great point. They have no depth.
I think this is a battle of starting five or starting five, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who who would you pick? Clippers?
I think Clippers in 7, but that's a toss up for me. Hard to
Yeah,
bet against
that's.
Jokic.
I agree. He's the best. It's a tough one because hard to bet against Jokic. He'll be the best player. I think the Clippers will have a good game plan against him.
Mhm.
The big question is, does Kawhi last the entire series? And
Yeah.
for that reason, I'm gonna take Denver in 6.
Okay, that's fair.
All
Hard to
right.
bet against Jokic.
Hard to bet against Jokic, I know, but I think this would be the year to do so. Um,
Yeah.
all right, so we're gonna move over to the East here, Josh. Um, all right, so the Cavs will be playing either the loser of Magic Hawks or the winner of Bulls Heat, and then whoever wins that. So one of those 4 teams could be the Magic, the Hawks, the Bulls, or the Heat. The only question I have for you is, do the Cavs win in 4 or 5?
Definitely 4. But I think, a lot of people talk bad about the Eastern Conference after the top 6 teams, but I don't know. This play-in looks kind of interesting, especially with how Chicago's been playing. I think it's pretty funny how 9-10 is good, really good offense versus good defense, and 7-8 is good defense versus really good offense. So I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. Cavs are 4.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm with you. I think the Cavs will roll that first round series. It's funny though because I guess if let's say the Magic were to lose and then they play them, like that was a 7 game series last year, and it's a lot of the same guys, except the
Mhm.
Magic have a couple of guys who are hurt, which is a kind of big deal. Um, But Cavs set themselves up to have a really easy first round matchup. I mean, I think the big difference is the records of these teams compared to the West.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think the playing games will be good games, in the
I
East.
agree.
But
I
I
think
don't.
they'll be really entertaining.
Yeah, I don't think it will matter who wins them. Um,
They have the Heat and Bulls as a coin flip
Interesting.
in terms
Who
of
would you take?
uh probably the Heat because I think defense is more valuable in the playoffs, but it is a one game series and the Bulls have been hot. Josh Giddey's looked really good,
Walking triple double, that guy, since the All
walking
Star
triple
break.
double. Crazy.
Uh, yeah, they may have the two. Like Heroes had a really good season, so I guess Hero, Giddy, and White, in some order, are the three best offensive players.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like the Heat have a more, I think, have a more complete rock. But the Bulls they've been playing well.
They've been playing really well. Yeah.
I don't know what their long term goals are, but they have nailed the let's get in the play in every year. If that's what
That's
they
their
were
long
going
term
for.
goal. They
Yeah,
want to be in the play-in every
yeah,
year, so they're doing that well.
yeah. I'm sure their fans are thrilled. Um, all right. Celtics versus the Magic or Hawks winner. What do you think about that one?
Same thing. Doesn't matter. Celtics in
Yeah,
4.
I'm with you. It doesn't matter, and I'm a little bit different. I think Celtics in five, just because
Oh,
I don't know something about that team. They just have a knack for just giving
they
away a
always have
game.
one bad game. Yeah. They'll
Yeah,
never
I
go
don't
16-0 no matter what.
no,
They
I
always
don't
have one
know.
bad game.
Yeah, and even
Was
like
it the Pacers series where they had like a bunch of injuries and they still lost?
they won. No, that was the Cavs.
Oh,
Cavs
that's
had a
okay.
bunch of. They swept the Pacers, but the Pacers like I swear the Pacers did everything they could to like lose a couple of those games.
Yeah, the Celtics had a huge comeback one time.
Yeah, like
I remember
it
that.
was yeah, it was strange, but I'm with you. It doesn't the Celtics are they're gonna win. Not much to talk about there. All right, this next one this one's a little bit more difficult for me. Uh, so Josh, we've got the Knicks and the Pistons. The Knicks won the first game of this season series before the Pistons turned around their season. And then the Pistons won the last three games. Um, yes, some guys were in and out in those games, but I do think that matters. I do think it matters that the Pistons won the most recent game. Um, 3-6 matchup. What's fascinating to me is that it's kind of like the opposite of last year for the Knicks, where the Pistons are going to be the more physical team, the better defensive team, the better rebounding team, and the Knicks are the more skilled team, which is like complete opposite of last year where the Knicks were at, and they've not been playing well of late. The Knicks, the Pistons have been playing well. I think it's going to be a fascinating series, and the Pistons tripled their win total of last season. They have been a much better team. They're certainly led by Cade, and they've got a bunch of other guys, but it's Cade, and then there is a kind of a big drop off until you get to their second best player, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. My question is, how many ejections in the series? Over under 1.5, because the Pistons love to fight. So this will be really,
It's a good
really
good
fun series to
question.
watch.
Yeah, I
Might be
think
their last series. It might go all out. They're just all gonna fight every time.
I don't think the Pistons have won a playoff game, not a series, a playoff game since like 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. I think they will win a playoff game. To answer your question, I'll take the over.
Hates it.
Yeah.
Isaiah Stewart, he's gonna be in there.
I'll,
Who's their rookie again? That
Ron
always gets
Holland.
likes
Yeah,
Ron
those two
Holland. Yeah,
guys
he'll
are
be
going
in
to
there.
get. And if you were to set technical fouls, I would say 5.5. I would say 5.5 technical
It's a
fouls.
good one. That's a good one.
Um, yeah, I think there will be a lot. I think the big difference though is what I was talking about before. Like there's Cade, but then who's the next offensive option? You know, that consistent offensive option for the Pistons. Whereas with the Knicks, like Brunson, Towns, the way OG's been playing of late, Bridges, I really hope steps up his level because otherwise that trade looks really really bad. Um, and then Josh Hart. I mean, those put Josh Hart to the side. That was a little bit early, but those four guys are certainly Cade, right? Cade, then and those four guys, and then you get to somebody else on the Pistons as a
What about
offensive
Tobias
option.
Harris?
And yeah, that I mean, look at what happened. You got the Pistons; they tripled their win total, and the Sixers,
Tobias Harris. Yeah,
the
all
Tobias
him.
Harris effect. Like, look how
Oh
bad the
yeah.
Sixers. Yeah, it's a one man. Like
Oh man. Yep.
people, people in Philly, I think they've got some big regrets. They booed that man out of the city, and now look at how bad they've been, and it's just
Yeah,
because Tobias Harris.
they miss him.
They do. All right, I'm gonna let you pick this one first. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna say Knicks in 5. I could see it being 6. I just think with Jalen Brunson, although you would know better how's he looked since his injury return. About the same.
Yeah, I'd say about the same. I think it's gonna be good that they get this week off um, as a team and also for him.
I think with Brunson and Cat, they're just gonna spam that pick and roll. And I think if the Pistons had any other better setters than Duran, I know Duran's like still young and didn't have the season we all thought he would. I just don't think they have an answer for that pick and roll. And I think that's going to cause them problems. Meanwhile, Pistons might struggle offensively. So I think, honestly, for the Knicks, it's going to be like a 5 game, maybe 6 game series.
Yeah, I think I think it'll be interesting how Coach Bickerstaff chooses his lineups because he's got like the athletic defensive wing guys like Holland and Thompson who will be much more difficult, make it much more difficult for the Knicks to score. But then on the other end, it will be more difficult for Detroit to score with those guys out there versus like Beasley and Hardaway. And like, how does he choose to mix and match with those guys?
Mhm.
Stewart, I as for as much as we talk about him um, for maybe his non-basketball stuff, he's a good defensive player,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays more than Duran um, in this series. But yeah, I was kind of this was the series I was talking about before, where like I would say Knicks in 6, but it doesn't. It's hard for me to see them winning that 6th game on the road. Um, so I'm with you. I think Knicks in 5, but I think this could be a tougher series than maybe it looks like when it's all said and done. But I just think the Knicks have too much offense.
Yeah. And their defense is pretty good with OG and Bridges. You can throw out Cade. So it's not like they're lacking in that department either.
OG, yeah, how they use OG, I think is gonna be very interesting. I think they'll try because they want OG off the ball because they want him to be able. He just affects so much more when he can help.
Mhm.
But if Cade is scoring a lot on Mikal or Hart, then I think they're gonna have to put OG on Cade, and Cade's kind of torched the Knicks this year, so I think they may
Torched
have to
everyone.
do that. Yeah, it's true. Uh,
I'm betting his PRAs. I don't care.
but I would bet them until the Knicks decide to put OG on him. I just think OG is one of the best defensive players in the NBA, and his offense has taken gone to another level of late. All right, Josh. Last matchup. This one's fascinating.
Yeah.
Pacers Bucks 4-5. What do you think? What do you think going into this one?
I was feeling really good about my answer before I saw the actual series favorite on DraftKings,
Oh,
but I really like the Bucks because historically the Pacers just don't have answers for power forwards. And although there's no Damian Lillard, it's just Giannis has been some of his assist numbers recently have been ridiculous. He had that 20 assist game, or was it 17 assist game? Yeah, that ridiculous assist game.
I think it
And
was. I think it was 20.
20 assists, yeah. I mean, I just don't see what the answer is for the Pacers with Giannis. And the Pacers have had a pretty good season. I mean, they have the better record, but I would take this Bucks in 7, honestly.
I think it was fun because like the Pacers, there's like the last couple of weeks, the 3, 4, 5, 6 of the East was kind of up in the air,
Yeah.
and the Pacers. It didn't matter to me who they played, but there was the Knicks, the Bucks, or the Pistons. It would have been a fun series because they have like a rivalry in some ways with each of those teams. I think what's interesting about this is like they played last year in the first round,
Hmm.
and the Pacers are pretty much the same team. Like the, Matherin is a big difference for them. He'll play instead of like Ben Shepherd. Maybe Jarris Walker will get some minutes, and then Thomas Bryant instead of like Isaiah Jackson or Jalen Smith. But for the Bucks, they've got like there'll be like 7 different rotation players compared to last year. Like you just going down the list, like Jay Crowder, Patrick Beverly, Chris Middleton, who played well. He did play well. Malik Beasley, Danilo Gallinari, Pat Connaughton was. I mean, he's still on the team, but he's not really as much of the rotation. And then Lillard, and then instead you've got Torian Prince, Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green played in like 1 or 2 games, but not really. Ryan Rollins, we don't. If Lillard's not available, I don't think he will be. Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., and Giannis, which is obviously the biggest difference here. And I'm with you. I just the Pacers they went on a heck of a run last year in the Eastern Conference, but they did beat 2 teams that were missing a lot of people. Or I guess technically in the Bucks uh, place, one really big key person, and Giannis is far and away the best player in this series. Um, and a lot of times in the playoffs, that's really all it comes down to is who's got the best player. And so I just think as long as he's healthy, they'll win. I'm with you. I think it's gonna be a tough series though, and I think they'll win. I think they'll win in 6. I think they'll get it done at home in the 6th game. But this Pacers team's played well, throughout most of the year. So I think it'll be a good, entertaining series. I think. Yeah, I was just realizing, like in the West, I think I had 3 series going to like Game 7, and
Yeah.
then in the East, there's like just this one. I was like, yeah, maybe 6 games. So the East, I think, will heat up in the semifinals.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
any final thoughts, Josh? Anything you saw in the betting markets that you
Yeah,
liked?
so for that series, I mean, Indiana is favored minus 190, which I guess I get it. The last 2 games they split, and they were both pretty close with Lillard. So without him, I could see from the market standpoint, you probably want to give them the advantage. I would say though, for sure, these games are going to be high scoring games. Every game went over 114 points for each team minimum. That was like the low scoring. So these games are going to be like 125, 120 kind of games. It's going to be high scoring up tempo offense. So
Yeah, I just keep thinking back. Like Chris Middleton was going crazy last year in the
yeah,
playoffs. So
I
that's a
know.
big factor. And I know the gap from Giannis to Halliburton, I would say, is the next best player is like big. But then the Pacers may have like second, third. I don't know if they have fourth. Then it gets kind of murky.
Yeah,
The
I think
sec,
they
I'd
kind
say
of have a
second
lot
and
of,
third.
yeah, second and third. I would say fourth, Siakam, Halliburton, and Turner. I guess
Turner,
Turner,
yeah.
Brook Lopez.
Yeah, probably Turner at this point. Brooke Lopez he's getting kind of old. So yeah, second, third, and fourth.
Mhm.
That seems fair. I think
I think,
Nemhard, he
yeah,
played really
Nemhard.
well last year's playoffs.
Yeah, he did. We just didn't really see that from him this season, though.
True, true, true. I wonder if some of that is because Mathurin has been available,
Yeah, that's true.
and without Mathurin, he had more responsibility, which probably helped. But all right, yeah, I'm with you. I may have to put a little bit on the Bucks. Put a little on the Bucks
Yeah,
there.
that might be
But
a wait 1 or 2 games to see, just to see how it
true,
plays
true,
out.
true. All right. Well, that's it from us. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Who do you have winning some of these first round matchups? And please subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.